Have you ever stopped to ponder the effects of pornography on your brain? It's a question that doesn't often cross our minds. Yet, it's a topic of immense relevance and importance. In our society today, pornography has become a ubiquitous part of life. It's often seen as a taboo subject, shrouded in secrecy and rarely discussed openly. But let's break that mold and address it head-on. Many of us hold various misconceptions about pornography. Some view it as a harmless indulgence, a form of escapism, or even a tool to spice up their romantic lives. But like any other activity, consuming pornography has a tangible impact on our brains. It's not just about the moral or ethical debates surrounding it, but also about the profound neurological effects it can have. To understand this, we first need to acknowledge that our brains are incredibly dynamic and adaptable. They constantly change and rewire themselves in response to our behaviors, experiences, and habits. This phenomenon, known as neuroplasticity, is what allows us to learn new skills, form memories, and adapt to new environments. Now consider this. What happens when a behavior, such as consuming pornography, becomes a regular part of our lives? Just as learning a new language or playing a musical instrument can reshape our brains, so too can the habitual consumption of pornography. The impact of pornography on our brains is not just a theoretical concept, it's a scientific fact backed by numerous studies. Researchers have found that regular consumption of pornography can lead to changes in brain structure and function, similar to those observed in individuals suffering from drug addiction. Yes, you heard it right. The brain, when subjected to repeated exposure to pornography, undergoes changes akin to those seen in drug addiction. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? But don't worry, this video isn't meant to scare or shame anyone. Instead, we aim to educate and raise awareness about the potential effects of pornography on the brain. It's an issue that deserves our attention and understanding. Let's delve deeper into the science behind this, shall we? Science has been digging into this topic for years, and the findings might surprise you. To understand how pornography affects the brain, we first need to understand how the brain responds to sexual stimuli. Under normal circumstances, when we experience sexual arousal, our brain releases a powerful neurotransmitter called dopamine. This chemical triggers a sense of reward, pleasure, and desire, creating a strong motivation to seek out the source of that pleasure again. Now consider the impact of pornography, of real-life sexual encounters. The brain is bombarded with an onslaught of sexual images, each more explicit than the last. These images hyperstimulate the brain, causing it to release dopamine in much higher amounts than it would in response to real-life sexual stimuli. Over time, this overstimulation can lead to changes in the brain. A study by Cambridge University found that the brains of habitual pornography viewers showed similar patterns to those of substance abusers. In both cases, the brain's reward system was desensitized, requiring increasingly intense stimuli to feel the same level of pleasure. Another study, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, found that excessive pornography consumption could actually shrink the brain. The researchers discovered that the more pornography the participants consumed, the less gray matter they had in certain brain regions, suggesting a decrease in neuronal activity. These findings paint a worrying picture of how pornography can alter our brains. But it's not just about the physical changes. Regular consumption of pornography can also skew our perceptions of sex, relationships, and intimacy, leading to unrealistic expectations and dissatisfaction in real-life relationships. The science is clear. Regular consumption of pornography can have profound effects on the brain, altering both its physical structure and the way it responds to sexual stimuli. The more we consume, the more desensitized we become, and the more we need to feel the same level of pleasure. This is where things start to get a bit tricky and the damage begins. We hope that these insights have been informative and enlightening. For more such deep dives into intriguing topics, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Stay curious, stay informed. So, what are these damaging effects we are talking about? When we delve into the realm of pornography and its effects on the brain, we find three main areas of concern: addiction, altered sexual expectations, and mental health impacts. Let's break these down one by one. Firstly, addiction. Much like how a person can get hooked on substances like alcohol or drugs, pornography can also reel you into a similar trap. The brain releases a chemical called dopamine when you engage in activities that feel good, including watching pornography. Over time, the brain starts craving for more and more dopamine, leading to an increased consumption of pornography. This forms a vicious cycle, which can be tough to break. Next, we have altered sexual expectations. Pornography often portrays unrealistic and exaggerated sexual scenarios. Over time, this can warp a person's perception of what normal, healthy sexual relationships look like. It's like expecting every meal to be a 5-course feast at a Michelin-starred restaurant. It's simply not realistic, and can lead to dissatisfaction and problems in real-life relationships. Lastly, let's talk about the impact on mental health. Studies have shown that excessive consumption of pornography can lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, and even low self-esteem. It can also lead to social isolation, as individuals may prefer the virtual world of pornography over real-world interactions. Now, you might be wondering how these changes in the brain can affect your life. Well, imagine being constantly trapped in a cycle of craving and indulgence, having distorted expectations of your relationships, and constantly battling feelings of anxiety and low self-esteem. It's like trying to navigate through a storm with a broken compass. It's disorienting, frustrating, and downright exhausting. The damage is real and it's serious, but it's not irreversible. Recovery is possible, and it starts with understanding. Acknowledging the issue is the first step on the road to recovery. With the harmful effects of pornography on the brain, it's crucial to understand the problem and seek professional help. Recovery methods can vary based on individual circumstances. Some may find success through therapy, while others may benefit from peer support groups. Therapy can provide insight into the underlying issues that lead to excessive pornography consumption. Peer support groups, on the other hand, can provide a sense of community and shared experience, making the recovery journey less lonely. In some cases, medication might be considered under the guidance of a healthcare professional. Above all, it's important to remember that recovery is a process. It takes time, patience, and a lot of self-love. Remember, knowledge is power. The more we understand about the effects of pornography on our brains, the better equipped we are to make informed decisions.